Hi, Gloriana. How you doing? All right, I've got your work up. So as you can see here, I've got the front and the back of the poster up. I just wanted to kind of compare your visual harmony and your consistency from the front to the back of the poster, and I think it's excellent. I'm so glad you didn't use the wreath as the timeline elements. I'm so glad you didn't. It would have been really super obvious. So by taking the individual kind of leaves out of the wreath and using those, I thought that was a really clever idea. I'm so glad that you did that. Also, following your thought concept, the continuation of the circular pattern for the image, and then also the timeline coming out of the image itself. Really good choices, solid choices. So you're definitely going in the right direction here. So one comment I have is, well, actually, I have one of several comments I have. But let's just jump back to the front of the posters. Justice for the indigenous people. I mean, to me, that is really an incomplete thought. I know that before it was justice for indigenous people of Guatemala, I believe, and I think that you changed it. But at this point, I just don't think it makes sense. Justice for the indigenous people. I mean, it's just not a complete thought. So I would reconsider that. Now, back here on this piece, and I'll just go ahead and let's go ahead and increase the size here. So what you have here is you've got justice for the indigenous people of Latin America. Now that would work, but I've never seen Latin America presented like that, and I'm not positive. And my father would be rolling around in his grave right now because I am of Hispanic descent. So, so not knowing it, I don't know. Is that a correct presentation of Latin America? I don't think it is, and I just went out and I Googled it, and this is what I got. I got Latin America, and I typed it in just like you did there, and it comes up, did you mean Latin America? And then it just goes into everything here is Latin America, two words capitalized, right? So I'm wondering about that. Okay, now what I want to do at this point is I can get rid of that background window now. So I just wanted to show you that. So I can really kind of bring up the size here so we can start taking a closer look. Okay, one of the things I would recommend on the timeline is the leaves over here are white, the laurel leaves. The stalk or stem is that kind of yellow color, but the leaves themselves are white. So I would change those to white just to add visual harmony and consistency therein. Now, if you want, you can take this just to as a continuation of color. You can come over here and take the years and change those to the kind of yellow color as opposed to the white. I think that would be very effective. The image itself is black and white, and I think this piece is dying for a pop of color. I really do. I would definitely consider using a color image there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the type. So, of course, we're gonna old style numerals aren't important here because they're not in body copy, so there's no other type next to them to compare them with, and they wouldn't look larger unless they're in a body copy. And I'll talk about that down here in your body copy. That should be an N dash right there. These should all be, well, actually, that's the only span. N dash 79 to 80. That's a number span. That's an N dash. N dash. Good. Just checking for consistency. You're not using periods in any, so that's good. Why does this look darker than this? I don't know. Is that bold? I don't know. That just to me, yeah, that entry right there looks a little darker. Check that. For advocacy of social justice work in 1983 rates for autobiography. Good. Excellent. Okay. Okay, there would be an example of small caps. Definitely small caps right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and move over to your type. Nice drop cap, beautiful. Good job. If anything, that drop cap might be a little bit large. You might try 3 lines deep on drop cap. I think it's okay, but technically, a lot of designers don't go past 3 lines. I'm okay with 4. I think it's okay. So think about that. Try 3 lines deep, see how it works. If it looks any better, stick with it. I would recommend some typographic variety here. So you've got a serif typeface for the headline and a serif typeface for the body copy. Think about mixing it up a little bit with some variety. Okay, old style. Yes, definitely a body cap. You want to use old style figures, and you definitely want to use small caps. Okay. Now, if you're not, if your typeface you're using doesn't have open type capabilities, as instructed in the video in the announcements regarding small caps and old style figures, you can just reduce the size a little bit so it falls more in line with the X height of the typeface. Okay. Okay, we got several widows here. There's a widow, there's a widow, there's a widow. You don't want any widows. That's the first thing that portfolio reviewers and hiring professionals are going to look at. They hate that. They hate widows and orphans. So definitely want to work those out. Okay, looking good, looking good. I like the space between. I think if anything, it can be reduced a little bit. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that. Your space between paragraphs, I think it's fantastic that you're delineating paragraphs based on a space as opposed to an indent. I think it's just a much more clean technique. Personally, I don't like to indent. I like to use the space between. I think it really does a beautiful job preserving that gorgeous left margin right there. So, but I think that your space between is just a little bit too large. Consider closing that down a little bit. Again, old style figures, old style figure. And when there's a figure, just transition to old style. And then anywhere where there's all caps, change that to small caps. Okay, all right, good, good, good. Let's talk about your rags. All right, rags I think need to be adjusted. Let's see, those are nice rags. That's okay. That's beautiful right there. These are good right here. I think that this is the best paragraph as far as rags go, even though there is a couple of pad. Let me tell you about rags, okay? So your rags, you want to stagger long line, short line, long line, short line. Like this is great. The first 7 lines here is fantastic. So there's no great difference between the shortest and longest lines, and you're kind of alternating, creating this zigzag pattern, which is what you want. What you don't want are these patterns right here, these waves. You don't want these waves here, and you don't want these angles right here. Okay, so that angle right there, you definitely don't want that. Now, so you want to adjust your rags. Here's a tip. So for this, what I would do is I'd place the cursor right there, hit your shift, and then return. That's called a soft return. And if you go through and reformat with soft returns, pushing these lines down to try to get a more even rag, that's a great technique. So try that. Okay, good job. I think that this is a fantastic piece so far. So just a few recommendations on the front cover, and I know we're not talking about the front cover this week, but I thought I'd add that in there, and then those recommendations on the back of the poster, and I think we're in good shape. All right, fantastic. Questions, comments, concerns, of course, any clarifications, please let me know. I'll be glad to accommodate in that regard. All right, great start. Thank you very much.